Oops, forgot that one. Good morning. Alright, so for quality of life stuff. And what happened to you? Okay. So this must have pushed the bottom down, even though I said aligned bottom. So we gotta investigate that too. So, but two things to fix here. For one thing, we said align 0, but Hermes has always shown 0, and that changes this stuff, which gives us a different pattern on the crosses behind him. And I realized I want a zoom back out button. Although probably just zooming out all the way should just kind of lock it. That position, that's a little bit of a different thing. So jump to God, we want full view and footer misaligned. Oh, and Hermes angle. Now, you'd think that Hermes would be an easy one, but it's going to be like this special exception. So we either do that in the raw data, which seems like the most appropriate place. Focus angle is focus. Oh. Well, there we go. Do I have another exception for you? It's not actually where it is, but it's going to get set there. Focus on. Focus angle of. That's not 0. Oh, okay. That's not the, that's the wrong angle. This is... Where's rotation? Rotation is a... Oh, is the current rotation. So is this not even something we have here? Well, it's the default position is now being defined. Is that so? Because on reload. No, your focus view, which is center diameter rotation. Can we do anything with that? something is putting us at that slightly skewed angle to start with. Initial model. Okay. So this information is kind of moved out here. I guess I could take whatever Hermes is and use that as my initial. Well, we don't have that calculated yet. That's the problem. Okay, so that's that. I don't know if I have a good icon for reset to all. We're going to need that in a little bit. Attributes. If they're words, it's not the. Huh? These are static images. Interestingly enough, those are not animated. That's the small icon for it. I'm probably eventually going to have to do a little thing that's just like colored dots. What do we do now? What do we already have? We're also going to do. We actually want to do some keepsake stuff at some point. It's the boons themselves. God mode. Boon backing. Apollo does have the right number of little pointers. We don't actually represent chaos. I'm not sure that'd be right. Boldy. Membership card. Gathered darkness. I'm not sure what that one is associated with. Athena used to be associated with money somehow? I don't think that one's in use. Okay. So what are we doing here? This is a god. So this is actually going to have to be a separate button. Okay, we just happened to where that was off the top. So this is a display an individual element, which we're going to have to borrow some bits of this. This is a row we're mapping. I want to probably put this at the end. The easy thing to do would be put it at the beginning, so I guess it's going to have to be a list append. Now, if this is only varying by name, message, and icon, I guess I have a function for that. So we have, for not a function, just a message. You're an icon and you're a name. So a god is going to be a display god button of select you, display god button of view all. I don't know, what do you even call this? And let's see, so these paths, I think, are like, start from GUI. GUI, screens, and we don't handle any message. Oop. Oh. Wonderful. Or everything called icon. No, this is not syntax. Right. That was all in parentheses before, so all this has to all be in parentheses. Now we get to the message. So just be default view, right? Okay, and once we figure out our own iconography here, we can pick something else. Oh, and we left our rotation bit in. And probably could have checkpointed on Hermes as well. Wait. Okay, my default view is also... also needs this, which is just kind of built in. Oh. Wait, did we rebuild? Offset rotation. And was that boon chart that had my other debug log in? No. I mean, that's where we're using rotation. Oh, is it not changing rotation at all? What? Oh, do you need to do a calculate? You do a calculate with the new rotation. Okay, so that one doesn't change rotation, so it's fine. I guess Hermes isn't moving, so what do we have to do here? We have to do... a boon chart calculate metrics. Update chart metrics. Model not rotation. Okay. Is update chart metrics returning something else? No, it's model to model. What the heck? Model to blah, 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 blah. Model to model. Focus view returns a model. Oh. Default view. No, we identified you as a model to model. Oh, but you didn't specify model. Oh, an implicit parameter. All right, so that. All right, I guess we weren't getting a good answer to that before because we had memory effects. That is actually updating the rotation. Let's see. All right, so what happened to you? Well, I have an idea what happened to you. Okay, it's not that. I did mess with some numbers here. Oh, is it this? Our Chrome fix. Yes. Well, you know what? I kind of wanted to get rid of the margins anyway. Are those coming from Elm UI? I'm going to have to put them back for this kind of stuff, but... So padding is a... Oh, that might be me. Yeah, that probably derives from other kinds of apps. Now, I had been taking account of that in various places. I'm not sure I was doing it in here. Would it be in the view? Yes, we shouldn't need to do that. We shouldn't need to do that. We're going to have to add our padding back somewhere else. Okay, so that's full bleed. This might be okay. This could use to be off a little bit. Nope, that does exactly what we want. Now, if I did inset this, I would have to account for that in my spacing. And maybe even if this is full bleed, I should be kind of accounting for that in the centering of stuff. See, so it's not going to affect our hit locations. That would... See, that was window size, right? Now that's saying the actual window height and width. Which is going to be relative to our origin. And you weren't, because I adjusted height and width up top. And in this case, the offset of this would have to include that as well, if we shrunk these down. Now that's the center. We have to do this. Oh, wait. Geometry.add. Right, this is why I was doing it up top, because it just kind of worked into everything. Well, no, this is the centering part, so that's fine. Although this is going to be down a little bit. I think. But I haven't moved you down, actually. Oop. I guess you're only really concerned about padding top, and then certainly we have to specify all four, I believe. This doesn't feel like it's 8 off, but... Do we have to consider that in the centering? That's the scale, so I'm making it a little bit smaller. Maybe I do. Oh, that's plus 40. So maybe I actually want to do 32. Well, no, actually it's a wash, because we're... That's bumped down, but that's bumped up. Now, this had all been adjusted by doing this to fix the chrome issue. Okay, but that changed the size of our content. It changed the size of our window. Somehow it's fine now. Oh no, because that height, that was actually the padding that was the issue with that. All right, so this is the stuff we have. Where do we find that? Primary boons. And this is in GUI HUD. Have we had anything in HUD before? No. Oops, no, yeah, in this folder, primary boons. Might be able to use you eventually. Wait, do we use this? Because that wouldn't account for, adding the aid, would it? This isn't even diamond. Maybe they chop out sections? Oh, no, it's just a difference. It's not, it's over the edge a little bit. So this is either earlier on in development or earlier game, because they don't have the 8 in there. There's an aid, and that doesn't look that different. Oh, these are actually inset a little bit more. Huh. For strike, special, cast, dash, aid. It's a relatively flat side, so I mean, I guess you could extend it. That almost feels like it wouldn't fit, though. Maybe the design of these actually considers possible collisions. We haven't done frames yet. Looks like those overlap a little bit. Which is actually going to be a consideration when we look at proper size. Maybe it all just goes 1-to-1, and it's gonna be a matter of positioning it center-ish. So we're going to have display slot select. Now it's going to be a bottle, but I don't want to deal with that type. I don't think I have an enumeration of the slots anywhere. I might be able to go through my data and figure out what the possible slots are, but I'm not going to have icons and things for all of those. Slot icon, attack, dash, ranged, second. Yeah, these don't match up with those names anyway. So you can't really do a whole lot with that. Well, wait, backing, oh, 4 and 5. So that's a different image. Now I don't see any reason to use that one then. Unless we have like end up with some kind of special, fresh file mode. Wait, backing 6. Oh! Do they add something for the keepsakes? I guess it'd be possible to get a call before you were using a keepsake. And this must be a leftover of an older version where you could like go into chaos mode and everything got replaced by chaos stuff. I don't know. So we're going to want. I'm not going to be using 6 right off the bat, but we'll eventually want to have a slot for keepsake because that'll just directly affect some things. Although we've also got the thing to just pick them in the chart. So that was on image. Center X, center Y in what? Primary boons, primary boon, backing 6. This is a purely decorative image. They have a thing for that? Oh, element. This. Maybe we should do this as officially as a background. Because it is kind of a background. I mean, the slots are kind of backgrounds too, but I guess those will end up replaced by the boons. So we should do empty slot and then boon. Background image. Which means what? I guess this is going to end up being a column, which are going to be align right. And then this is going to be a background.image. Not in crop, not tiled, not tiled. to fit the containing element. So I may have to look up the proportions of this and set this entire element to be the right size. And here's just a string. It's an empty row for now, which this might not be anything, since it has no content. All right, we're going to need to do some, I guess it's only an image for the labels, huh? For the slots. Now, I probably do need to do, well, just doing one will let us start seeing the background. But we're going to need probably a helper for these. Don't know about that. Don't know about that yet. Slot icon attack. Oh, I meant the line left. Okay, so that is in fact going to be too big. I guess we would aim for around this size. I actually just picked 40 because it was what the map icons were. But that might feel about right. And maybe we want to do screen size relative. Actually, that's a little bit small for you. Might be around what that's doing. Actually, but I probably want, well, I need to figure out what that ratio would be. But I do want to show this whole thing. $138 naturally, which was a little big. So, it's 60 divided by 138 is that ratio times 1188. And hopefully that'll be close enough. So what we might want to do is calculate the available height on this one and have a limit on the width. And I want to do something with spacing and padding, I guess. Well, there's spacing. Okay, I got that wrong. secondary. It was just word wrapping. Now we're eventually going to need to do frames around here, which is going to affect our spacing. Although if I draw that to 60, maybe it would kind of work out. Well, these are scaled 1 to 1 with each other. So these should be right, but they need... This is going to be the image overlaid with the frame. I guess I don't know if I'm going to have a screenshot of the base case, because like they're trying to show everything off. Okay, so there is a frame even around the basics. And I think I might have even seen that frame. I guess I assumed that was like a default boon. Maybe an actual boon is that. So these were... This was GUI HUD. You'd think it would be in the same category. Let's then return bar, 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 info panel. That's something else. That's a single animation. Reload bar, trait update. No, maybe it's more with the boon stuff. Huh. So what were boons? Screens. Boon entrance, boon icon frames. Oh, so is tray the default view? Well, there's boon info, and there's tray. Where's tray highlight? So why would you highlight an empty slot? Yes, there's boon info, there's primary, there's tray. Okay, so we've got a little highlight at that corner. That looks like primary. And I'm not sure... Yeah, this doesn't have... Because even... Yeah, that's common. And then we go to rare epic. So these are going to be overlaid. Huh. In the game, I don't know which one is on top. Probably having the frame as a background image to the boon could make sense. No, it has to be their element because the size is going to be different. have to work out all our size adjustments. Oop. You're back to there. Alright, so if an icon frame are all over the place, so they're probably just centering it. Or maybe not even, because some of these have the have a little extra stuff on the side. Or maybe that makes the entire thing get centered. Just get, it gets widened, but they still center it. I might have to do a custom thing for every frame. So our default one is 201 by 206. What is an icon? Which are even these consistent? No, these are not perfectly consistent. But they're about 148. Uh, 60 divided by 148. That's shrinkage on that. These were like times 201. That would make the overall thing 80. Well, I mean, this is just this view. We probably do have to make this scale, don't we? Within limits. So that's going to be our, no, it's 1188 is our image size. Minus something for the bottom. Actually, everything here probably wants to be in, doesn't it? Oh, now it thinks you need to be float. Oh my god. Oh, is this... No, that is floating division. No, actually, you aren't. But we're going to have to do this as well. SPX of X is well, SPX of what? This was 138, 1188. Boon icon is going to be 148-ish, but it actually depends on the image. Right, I'll probably have to pick like round or something. Round floor ceiling. Needs to be a length. How do we make a length? Wait. Oh. So we actually have to put you into pix because we're just subsuming that function. All right, so that's that. Now, that is scale. This all scales to the window. And that's actually pretty close. We forgot to change this one. So we got this L. The L needs a background. Now GUI HUD. No, you're not the frame. Is in screens. No. Boon icon frame. Primary. GUI screens. Boon icon frames. Primary. And so that's this image. You were a little bit asymmetric. Okay, and then I guess CD, you have to have the center X and center Y properties. Okay, so that looks good, but it's not, but it's cut off. I'm not sure that the Elm UI positioning is actually going to be good here. A SVG style, I could switch this to be just an SVG, although this might be nicer for menuing and stuff. Because these are basically going to be buttons. Okay, so that much looks good. All right, so we need to build up how we do this. And man, these could change with every image. So So you have a height and a width. That's going beyond it, I guess. Because that's the actual width of this. But I don't want... would it be stretched? It is resized based on the width. Now, maybe we could do something with padding. But I need to know how much padding to do. Well, it's 201 minus 138 divided by 2. Padding needs an int. Okay, that was incorrect. That looks like it has added internal padding rather than external padding. Margin? There is no margin, only Zool. Okay, so we want padding and spacing. All right, so you want the align left. You want, well, that's the height and width of the image. This might be a place where we need to get some sub-functions going. That's basically the structure of the frame. You should just be arguments to column, right? Okay. You seem inset a little bit. Oh. So actually, we don't want to do that. We want to do that. We want to do, well, it's a background image. So we do need an extra element for this stuff. So this is primary boon backing. Oh, but we have this scale factor. I don't know if this really helps, but I guess that out of being as much of a mess. And then you are just a background. Do you have like a none? Yes. There's an in front. Does that mean there's a behind? Behind content. And let's see, padding. Well, if we inset that, maybe? Or if we inset the boons. We don't want to inset the boons. I do need to inset that element, though. So do you still need to be 2 elements to get an inset? There's a line left, a line right. Oh, you just want to be centered? Does that even work? They don't quite line up, though. This isn't in the Lua, is it? Oop. Okay. Primary boons. This is probably too core of a game feature to be scripted. There's a GUI SJSON thing. Use screen location. Oh, maybe it's being referenced through there. Base GUI obstacle, display an editor. Scale. Interesting that it's a flat scale. Which is pretty close to what we were kind of doing, I guess. That's the atlas. GUI.sjson. Trait tray. Oh, are these the themes? I don't even know if I have the themes decoded. Hmm. Okay, that's a different kind of screen. No, that's victory screen. Oh. Okay, so they have little variations. So trait backing might actually be what we need to look up. Boon info trait backing. Constant, frame, unlit. That's an SJSON again, but not a whole lot of positioning information. Boon info button, tooltip offset. Conditional item data. Well, there's these things again. Cell data. Group equals combat menu. Item location Y. Create cell buttons. So this might actually be the cell buttons in the shop, not the boon itself. Because like that's a definite hard coordinate. Screen anchors trait backing. Oh, trait tray. Trait backing decor. Create screen obstacles. Get trait tray slots. Get trait tray size. Trait tray dash ranged. Icon start X. Icon start X. Location Y. Trait UI spacer Y. Oop, that's icon start. Is there a thing for trait UI? It's not a major thing, no. Is that an engine thing? Deactivate trait, activate trait, deactivate trait. Trait token. Maybe it's an engine thing, but it's still kind of being placed by the script. Destroy trait UI? Well, that's just something we're calling. Function destroy trait UI. UI scripts. Consumable. Do you create trait UI? Hide trait UI? Show trait UI? No, I already got trait UI start. Oh, UI data? And you are going to be like consumable UI. Recent trait size, start X, start Y. Screen center Y -7. They must be operating in some constant space. Feels like it's actually centered, which is a thing we could work on. Spacer X, odd spacer X. Icon start. But then how does that adjusted with different size lists? Icon start X, 27 plus 64 minus 40. $93.5. The spacer X must be to, right, because this is like almost halfway. Pip offset. So these would all be pre-scale values. I might almost need to do a SVG style thing here. Okay, so we're scaling you. We have that. Can I even absolutely position these things? I'm gonna have to position them by their center. Maybe I have to do a full-size frame with something centered inside of it. Because that would be, no, it wouldn't be 138. We have to figure out, let's see, scale and primary boon, behind content. Yeah, our column doesn't have a width. I guess it's being set by this thing. Do we have an implied 40 doesn't sound right. This sounds about right. Is there like an align center? No, that must just be center X. So this entire thing is align left, center Y. We might have to make it smaller to see that. Right, because my content, this is behind content, so it doesn't count as part of the size. We kind of lose the offset here because we're saying center X. So I might actually have to create a thing that's almost all of the window height, and then it can center within that. Or my offset just has to be enough to allow for that, even with... So we were thinking it was around 30-ish? 2030? So in scaled coordinates, you're doing... These are probably centers. So maybe the central part is like 128, so that's like 64 plus 27. And there's the minus 40. That feels like enough to be a center, but it's also subtracting a lot. And our icon images are like 148, but it's saying space is... The spacer Y is 93. Now, oh, there was the scale 0.5. We're kind of doing some implicit scaling here. So maybe that wouldn't translate 1-to-1. All right, so we've got that, we've got that. I know that LMUI is really set up for this kind of precise positioning. So there is icon start Y. What does that, how does that affect? Shoot, it was some kind of UI. UI scripts? Get trait index. Combat. Oh, group equals combat UI backing. Hit trace slot frame. Icon start X. Icon start Y. How does, is it trait slot? Toggle control. Shoot, what did they call it? Generate boons backing 4. Trait tray slot. Okay, so that's never used. Okay, so those are those things. Oh, this means that this is getting put into, let's go, yes, JSON trait backing. Conditional item data? Yeah, that's all those things. UI scripts. If not, has God mode trait. Oh, that's add trait. And screen anchors trait backing. Obstacle name trait tray slots. Get trait tray size. So there's no variation in, well, no, where's location Y? Oh, is that difference in icon start Y? That was like +7, so that must be center of it. But then it's just icon start. So I'm not sure how they position stuff. Seems like a center, but the center would move as that moves, and then the start positions would be off. Data UI? I swear there was a thing called UI data. So 40 feels like a left edge. Screen center Y doesn't sound right. It's like a left edge and a center. How do I translate that into a position? It seems like they're picking the backing and then not caring about positioning. Was it not at... There's a start x. The backing is at, combat UI, trait UI start. So it's not actually, it's not using that position. Combat UI. Fade distance. There's trait UI start. Trait UI start minus fade distance is actually 0. Oh, maybe that's, they do that as to slide things in and out? And they don't move location Y at all that I can tell. Unless they do all that adjustment later. That's actually 50 off. That doesn't even seem like enough. That feels like maybe left edge. Then the screen center Y minus 7 wouldn't be right for top edge. Or maybe as the fade distance, is that something that fades in? And it's not faded in yet? All right, so it's a bunch of absolute numbers. We don't have good tools to place things by a center. The width of these is going to vary a little bit, which means that just placing it by an absolute offset is going to be tricky. Although I guess this is getting close. What I probably need to do is set the width of the container to something large enough to center all of them. We've got some 200s. That's something a little bit else. Maybe want to use those, but it seems like that could be a little bit much. You are not centered, maybe? Image L. Okay, so you have to be center X. And it's not quite lined up. Maybe if it once it's moved down, you won't be able to tell. But what's your start position? Oh, maybe they, if they did an absolute based on, or a center based on this, and then let it extend down as it grew. That's an old one because that's down there. Nobody's showing plain old in-game UI. Wow. Is the only one that shows any of it all. Actually, was there a full-size bar in the Supergiant ones? Yeah, there's some really stuffed ones, and it does seem to continue going down. Okay, so they center it at the start and then keep on adding stuff. I don't know if we need to fully represent that. But that explains some of the absolute coordinates they're using. So we just kind of needed an absolute offset for our first element here, and well, and a spacing. Now, the spacing is between elements. They're doing absolute spacing between, I presume, centers, but I don't know. Or between absolute start spots. So I don't know if I can really use that unless I have like dummy elements that in front the actual size graphic that are all the right size. So what we've got right now is we've got an L with a background image of a certain size. We decided that it is stretching stuff when we use background. I guess we could do, we don't have to use background, we could just use an element with an image, and the image would just be at its size. This is an L with a background, so we probably actually want a behind content with another image. And this will just have a space allocation. We can center whatever image it is and hope. Do you have to have a width then? No, we do have to scale things down. So we have to know something. So everything has to be scaled. Would I just pass the scaling function to you? I could pass the scale factor, then everybody has to kind of redo this, or do all the stuff in line. Or we start getting into these kind of little things. So you have one of these are all. We're eventually going to be swapping the frames, which means we have to deal with sizes. For now, we only have to swap this. Well, that was the fast pile. All right, and we can go secondary. Yeah, so that spacing is not great. So they call this, they use different names in different places. So I need HUD. Primary boons, it is special ranged dash. And Wrath. Call slot, and we may eventually want keepsake, but I'm not I don't know if we can, we don't have the stuff to position that, or to specially draw that right now. So my spacing is off, and my, oh. I never actually put the arguments in here. So is the whole thing going to have to be like in front or behind to do the spacing separately from the graphics? Let's see, so we have an L with a background. That has to have a certain size. It's just the background, though. You don't technically have a height. Is it affected by this? Very much. So that's a background image on the element. But now it's a... but maybe we still want it to be a background image because there's no description for it? Oh wait, this is the element. So this is setting our size. So do I want you to be... I want 88, because that's too wide. Where was... trait UI? 93.5. I don't know what units that's in. Seems way too small. Okay, that kind of does that. Wait, does that make the frames? Oh, I still have the background on here. Now, I don't know if that matters. This is just kind of a frame right now. Huh. Right, because this is now a weird size. So behind content isn't affected by the container. Well, so it's not that. Scale is only going to make us smaller. So I'm not sure how to use this spacing. Unless it's this times 2 and then scaled. Uh, 180... 187. Well, that does seem pretty close. Not quite, because this is starting to get more in frame. And that's still pretty out of frame. So we need to get our starting position down. How do we offset our starting position? Is padding going to be the right thing? Well, that's going to affect the sides too, which is going to mess everything up. So padding XY, padding each. Dunno. Oh, you're just an int. Okay, is that supposed to be that? Yeah, it's supposed to be a little bit on top. Actually, we can. Oh, it's like I can browser zoom, but I told it to make it size relative. I guess we can just tweak the scale. That's a little bit easier to see. So this one, I'm not really sure what your spacing is supposed to be. I guess if we get the spacing to these right, and I'm gonna need all of them to. But this is definitely not even. And then these are close. So our spacing, I guess I could have negative spacing. Maybe. No. We can't have negative spacing. Wait, that's a boon backing, not our main list. We can have negative spacing. I mean, we probably have negative padding too. All right, so I'm seeing a change in top spacing between those two. It is becoming less. That looks kind of even-ish. Well, that's close. Spacing needs to be a little bit more, and we could probably come up at the top. Up would be less. Ooh. Okay, so that starts out good. Oh wait, this is negative. Does this just kind of drop out? Let's see, so this is, so it's shrinking slightly as we go. And we might need to go up a little bit. That's starting to look good. Now, this is with even known sizes of everything. It might get complicated once boons get involved. Now, we want these to be buttons. And what element are we going to make a button? And it's going to be something in slot icon. Let's see, so primary boon backing is the column. And we might have to pull out frames eventually too. So it's going to be slot icon. Well, this is just an L. Input.button. And that becomes the label. Okay, so you had that. This takes over that stuff. I guess really, you become this. You become this. And that's where the nothing is actually handy. Could maybe do a cell element just to make that look better. Okay. We don't have anything to do with this now, do we? And we can get the message set up. Let's see. Actually, that was harrowing enough. I don't know if this positioning method will hold up to the different icon frames and stuff. We'll see. We need a way to display menus next to those, which actually kind of means I'm going to come into this thing again. Which we might have to get into passing scale functions around. One way I could do that would be just to leave the pics in there, not have a helper for it. So it would be pics of scaled. And then we would just be passing scaled functions around. Also, can we... No, left. Actually, it probably is just one. Just feels a little bit off. That's better. Let's see, a menu is going to be... And we might be displaying full things with frames. Because we might eventually want to be displaying the legendaries with the legendary frame. Well, that's not going to be a primary ability, so that's moot right now. So I think they're always in some kind of frame. Actually, that would be the basic boon frame, probably. So right now, this is just the button. But it might also be a button in a menu. Would that be kind of like an in front of thing? So I guess we have to fix this. Okay, so you have to become px of scaled. And it's one function, and we can pass that one function around to subfunctions. I guess all of this would be easier if it was SVG. But I had a real bad time with clicking on SVG stuff. This is going to be all UI. Okay, so we've already, oh, PS. Already messed something up here. And that should be able to go. Alright, so now these could be actual functions. You don't really use anything, so you're just probably an int to a int. Nope. But it's because we immediately multiply it. Okay. And we could pull you out. You're eventually going to need a model, though, so I don't even know if I can really type that easily. Right, that was our little function closing parenthesis. Okay. And then in here, we actually want this. Well, this is a slot icon. The other thing is going to be a boon icon. But we're basically just passing a path. But a slot icon needs to have a thing to add the menu. So do we have a wrapper for that? Of course, now we're going to need a model. I don't have an easy path here, do I? I can't say in front and offset. I have to say whatever we draw here has to be offset. You need to know which slot you are, I guess. Oh, now I just have to do... I just have to do something. And you need to be in... I guess it's going to end up being a row, right? And then it's whatever that thing is. Maybe it's only half of that. But then we have the same thing in the other. No, that should be fine. We never actually called this. There's just a thing in front of itself. But you need the model, which means you need a model. And you get a model, and you get a model, and you get a model. I almost need an internal function just to pass all this extra stuff. Actually, I might not need the whole model here, but we'll see. And you don't have your slot. We're not using it yet. So that is not over far enough. I mean, maybe as a menu it'd be okay. Actually, I could almost do God icons here instead of the actual trait icons. Because the strikes are all going to look the same. Now, this is actually called what? Thunder weapon trait. And secondary trait. And ranged trait. I never did an enum for slots, did I? Because it's a, well, I could decode it coming out the trait data, I guess. I don't know why they put this little thing under there. That's a rush, and that is a shout. Wait, no, I put this in the end. All right, so what we actually want to do this is only going to be in basic traits, basic boons. No legendaries or anything, or yeah, no duos is going to go in the menus. I guess I could make a thing here to filter down to a slot. We're only searching God traits, that's fine. Oh, but you're per God. So, oh, you're in a, we've already got a God. Duo boons goes off of traits. Basic boons, okay. All right, we were near basic boons. Oh, and there's duo boons. So you're going to be a trait. Surely we do other stuff around here that is like to all of the gods. Gods, just, well, yeah. Let's stop map. Is this going to be more of a concat map, though? So this is an individual god. And this could almost be boons for slot as well. Now you are God data to list trait. And that is going to be kind of like basic boons. Wait, data god traits. Just data traits, okay. Which I guess we actually have the data definition in there, but oh, what a slot. Which we've not made a enum for this. Maybe we could. Oh. It's probably just called slot. Okay, that turned out to be kind of trivial. My view might not be in good shape right now. No. Oh, I got myself mixed up here. List dot. Where'd my concat map go? Let's find God boon. All traits. I guess I just deleted it. Oh, you need this too. Oh, you're a maybe, aren't you? Yep. Oh, we have a slot ID. So that's something. Something very, very minor. Oh no, actually this is going to be slot, so we have to say just target to get an equivalent type. And then, so duo boons, this ends up being a little bit weird. Boons for slot. And then icon. We're going to do something about frames here soon. I guess I can't. Can I not do that with curly braces? Nope. Okay. Map. Okay, so the sub function does not need to be so wide. That's an aspect of this thing, not of those. And why? Did I misspell weapon? Is the slot not named weapon? Shout, shout. Melee. Oh, and this is, well, I guess it's still going to be a button, but it's going to do something different. And our sizes are wrong. Interesting. Well, our sizes and our alignments are wrong. Oh, well, this list I might eventually be able to filter down by setting which weapon you've got. All right, so how much are you affected by not being giant? Okay, so this is affected, which means slot icon needs to have that. Okay, and then I guess you have to be center. Okay, I think that fixes up those. That puts this offset be a little bit different. Although maybe being half over like that's kind of okay. Yeah, those are really only distinguished by color. And you can maybe pick out a few little effects here and there that are sort of token of the god. But we're probably actually going to be better off with just, well, if we go with God for this, we're not going to be able to identify a definite trait. I can work on that later. have a flare switch that just goes in and swaps it out. So this menu doesn't want to be boon icons. We can display them over here so it all matches up with the game. Which is kind of doing the same thing, that's relying on color. So we want to drop down to something like this. And I guess we could go ahead, well, we could find all of these, we could display it as a god, and I need to maybe filter those depending on the current setting later. So you're not going to display as this. We have a god button, but this is, oh, you actually do take a message. This is assuming the select god, though. Da, ba, 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 da. Or do we actually want to take... No, we're using that... we're using the god information in the trait that's for that slot to get the god. Oh no, this is... Wait. You're a god. Oh yeah, we can just get that stuff straight from the ID. And then, well, this is assuming we have a definite message. We can punt with that for now. Ooh, you displayed it in absolute size. Oh, do traits know their own god? They don't. Okay. So we actually do have to go down to the god list. Traits all gods, list.map. Oh, so we have to drop Hermes out of this. Do we have a function for that? Linkable gods? We're eventually going to need the slot for the button message. Okay, so we need to do, this can move over, we could do with some centering. This might be okay, just leave it size. And of course, these are still doing their old functions. Actually, this could be smaller. Oop, not 20. All right, so we're just passing a God down to you. Our message is going to need to include slots. We can go in and figure out what it is later. Which is just our message. I'm trying to make a quick select. So you can just go over here, say, I want attack from Aphrodite, and I want special from Dionysus, and I want cast from Athena. Because, I mean, we're getting better at navigating, but I think that would be nice for kind of quickly figuring out. Because I've done a set of artistic layout, and even without that, like the wiki ones rearrange the order of the basic abilities a lot to get better grouping of the lines. Another way to do it would be to put everything in standard order, and then you're going to have some really crazy lines going around trying to get all the right groups for things. So far I've been going with, we arrange based on the lines, and now I'm going to see if I can add some other tools to make getting basic layouts easier. So now I need an actual message. Huh. Well, this is going to be very similar to toggling something. I guess I could look up the boon ahead of time and then say toggle this thing, but I still have to close the menu. Now, we don't handle that. Oh, no, we have something else wrong. Now, we're not handling a message. Okay, select God. Oh, that's only by way of mouse events that we do that. Okay. So, having punted that, we now have to go back to finding all the boon. Oh. I can't just take all the boons for that slot because the boons don't have their god attached to them currently. We have to get that god and then filter down to that slot, and then maybe we just punt on flare for now. But that'll compile. Do we have a way to get Like either a god to traits or a traits god. Nope. So we've got basic boons of God. We've got boons for slot. I guess we're going to need like a boons of... Well, this is boons of, not God of. You would be a list trait if it's actually that. List dot filter. Oh. I either have to make this a maybe or I have to punt to... Oh, this is a list. It could be an empty list. Or we're going to do data. This filter map could have kind of worked for this. Data traits. This would be basic boons. I guess is all we care about here. List trait. But since that only gets the boons of a single god, we need to have... Well, I guess we never ended up using this function. We could repurpose it. That's for an entire god. Or we just publish a slot and let others filter it. All right. Hades boons. This needs to have the similar effect as select boon. So what do we got? We got model.traits. Traits.boons of God. List.filter to traits is slot. And that could be 0, 1, or many. Now, it should really only be 0, 1, or 2 in the cast case. Trade ID model. It's a singular trade ID. That's a maybe. And of course I put that on the inside. Filter, head, map. Now you're going to get an ID. And maybe dot with default standard model. And once we have menu operation, we have to close the menu. Oh, hey, it even toggles. These are all legal combinations because you can't really do multiples. But that seems to be working. And I actually probably could have checkpointed it. Basic menu support.